Today I want to talk about the power of cooperation and union negotiation. We all know that bargaining can sometimes feel like a battle, but it doesn't have to be that way. Negotiation isn't about confrontation, it's about collaboration. It's about finding common ground while standing firm in the principle that matters most to us as workers. As a union, we don't just demand, we negotiate. We work to create solutions that benefit everyone. We're not here to make enemies, we're here to ensure fairness, respect, and dignity for all workers. And that requires an approach rooted in the cooperation, mutual understanding, and shared commitment to the future. Our goal in these negotiations is not to draw battle lines, but to come to the table with open minds and a collective vision. We have demands, yes. We have goals, absolutely. But we also understand that real change requires dialogue, compromise, and collaboration. We know that progress is made through cooperation, not conflict. When we negotiate, we must remember that the ultimate goal is to ensure that everyone wins. Management, the unions, the workers. The way to achieve that is through constructive conversation, where we don't just push for what we want, but we listen to each other and work together to find solutions that can move us all forward. We bring to the table not just our needs, but our ideas. We bring solutions to the challenges we face, and we offer our perspective on what's working and what's not. We don't just point out problems, we offer ideas for improvement. We seek to find balance, fairness, and a mutual respect for every provision we negotiate. It's important to remember that though we are fighting for our rights, it's not about attacking the other side. It's about ensuring that all of us, as workers, as individuals, as a community, are treated with the respect we deserve. We should always be open to listening, to understanding where management is coming from, and finding ways to gather in a manner that benefits everyone. This cooperative approach doesn't mean we compromise our values or rights. It doesn't mean settling for less than what we deserve. What it means is that we're willing to engage in good faith conversation to find common ground without sacrificing what's essential to us. We negotiate with strength, but we do so with respect. We've earned the right to be heard. We've earned the right to be treated fairly, and we will stand strong with those rights. But we also understand the importance of coming to the table ready to work towards solutions, not just demands. That's how we grow stronger, and that's how we make lasting progress. At the end of the day, these negotiations aren't just about securing better pay or benefits. They're about building a relationship, fostering understandings, and settling the foundation for long-term success for all those involved. Let's approach these negotiations with confidence, with respect, and with the commitment to cooperation. Together, we'll ensure that our voices are heard, our rights are protected, and our futures are secured. In unity and cooperation, we succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Juan. Thank you, Matt. Thank you both for being here.
And joining me tonight, I have Mr. Matt Lacey. Matt is our Chief Negotiation Officer, and tonight he would like to make his introduction.
I'll keep it short,
Very good.
I promise.
Thank you.
Nice to see the Whack family in play, by the way. Just saying. Hi everyone, I'm Matt Lacey. I'm at the negotiations table and I represent as a steward, and I also serve on the State Resolutions Committee for Area G as our Area G chair. Just to highlight a few of the hats I wear. I aim to bring the union back to Whittier Union High School District. COVID funding brought a lot of money to the table. Feelings went their ways and people took their sides. I'm inspired by the work from all parties to bring that unity back. We have to rewrite the script. The grievance process helps us all stay proficient in our compliance with the documents we all follow. This isn't an attack on management. This keeps everyone in our lanes to be able to drive together. The negotiations and reclassifications process helps us define those lanes and keep the contract concurrent with the goals we're all working towards. None of this should be a contest between parties, but a collaboration to rectify the services we provide for our students and community where everyone is heard. Let's continue to work together to bring the union back to Whittier Union High School District, in unity with our staff, unity with our district, unity with our students, and unity with our community. Thank you.
Lacey, appreciate your comments tonight. Nice to meet you virtually. So we now move on to item 5, and to introduce our Whittier High School Jazz Band, I'd like to ask Dr. Oviedo to make the introduction.
I'm very excited to introduce to you the band director from Whittier High School, Mr. Eddie Mijares.
Something a little bit more upbeat called Cantaloupe Island by Herbie Hancock. High School Jazz
Thank
Ensemble.
you so much for performing 2 songs tonight. And I want to thank Mr. Edward Pijadas, the band director, for your leadership. And students, seeing you perform is a highlight of our experience. It's our Raison d'Entrée. It's the reason why we're board members, to be able to serve you and to see you shine and to see you grow and blossom and develop. So you are wonderful, talented musicians. Let me just pause and ask if you had a chance to introduce yourselves yet. Has that happened yet?
No, that has not happened yet.
Why don't we go ahead and take the time to do that?
Mr. Mijares, can you introduce, or have them introduce themselves, their name and their grade?
Definitely. You guys want to do that instead? We'll start with saxes first. Yes.
I'm Joaquin Cortez. I'm a freshman.
My name's Natalie Aguilar and I'm a freshman.
Hi, my name is Ricky Barrera. I'm a junior.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Flores and I'm a freshman.
Hi, my name is Christopher Baca and I'm a sophomore.
My name is Jonathan Torres and I'm a sophomore.
My name is Destiny Lopez and I'm in 11th grade.
My name's Derek and I'm a freshman.
My name is Jan Rico and I'm in the 9th grade.
Noah?
I'm Noah Lovato and I'm a junior.
I'm Brianna Torres, I'm a sophomore.
I'm Edward Navarro and I'm a senior.
I'm Adelina Monzon and I'm a sophomore. I'm Aiden Castaneda, I'm a junior.
My name is Andres Rivera and I'm a 12th grader.
I'm Noemi Romero, I'm a freshman. I'm Jamie Alvarez.
Thank you very much. And let me turn
I think,
to...
did we get them all?
We got 2 more.
We got 2 more,
Sorry.
Trustee Castaneda Calles, 2 more, sorry.
They're in the corner. That's why you can't see them.
One more time. Nice and loud, Jamie.
I'm Jamie Alvarez and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Brian Wynn and I'm a freshman.
Okay, and that is all of them, Trustee.
So sorry to interrupt the introduction, but I had a little hearing for you. So again, thank you so much. Colleagues, would you like to add any kudos or comments to our students tonight?
Mr. Mendez, what?
I want to say congratulations to the best band in Whittier Union High School District. And I am saying that because I'm a Cardinal. Even dressed up, I thought I was going to be able to play an instrument, wear my flag and a tie. But again, thank you very much. I know it takes a lot of work. Besides doing your homework and other school work, is you rise above that to do your extracurricular activity as a band member. I appreciate all the work you put into it, and it's certainly paying off. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez.
Mr. Lopez would like to speak.
First and foremost, Mr. Mijares, thank you for saying yes to get this gig. And I did attend a basketball game, and thank you for having the band play there. It means a great deal to not only the players, right, but the fans as well. So thank you for that, and thank you, Mr. Favela, for supporting. I appreciate it. And to the students, thank you for all you do, and of course, and all the supporters, your fans, your family, friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
I just want to congratulate you for all your talent and your dedication. And I heard there's a lot of freshmen and a lot of sophomores, a lot of freshmen, which gets me excited because I know you're going to be around for the next 4 years, and we're going to see your continued growth in music. And I don't know if you noticed this, but Dr. Castaneda Galleros, who's remotely being our president tonight, but as soon as you started playing, he had this big old smile on his face, right? And so literally, you bring joy to our hearts, and so I just wanted to thank you. I also wanted to take the time to thank all the parents that are here and the abuelitas and abuelitos for supporting your students. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Cachola.
I'll make my comments very, very short. I think of the board, I'm the only one who played in a high school jazz band. So did you also, Gary? Okay, I played jazz bass. But anyway, I will just echo what my colleagues have said. Congratulations on being able to grow and develop your incredible talent. Thank you to the families and the parents who support you, all the time and effort and the money that it costs for all the lessons and the instruments. So thank you very much. Congratulations. My youngest son is a Whittier Cardinal, so I don't recall there being a jazz band when he was in high school at the time, so congratulations on that accomplishment as well, and good luck.
Now we move to item 8, teaching, learning, recognitions, and presentations. And to introduce Mr. Favela and our wonderful student, Wendy Carcamo, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Oviedo.
Yes, it is Whittier High School night, and I am very privileged to introduce everyone to our newest principal in Whittier, at Whittier High School, and that is Mr. Andres Favela. Not a new principal. I think he has 16 or 17 years of principal experience, if I recollect. 15, yes. I'm trying to make you older than you are. And so he's going to introduce us to his student and get us going.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to invite Wendy Carcamo to stand next to me, please. Good evening, Board President Castaneda Calleros, esteemed board members, Superintendent Oviedo, and cabinet members. I'm truly honored to present Wendy Carcamo as Whittier High School's Award of Merit student. Wendy's journey and contributions perfectly embody the values and spirit of our community. Growing up in the Whittier area as the youngest of 5 siblings, Wendy has faced personal challenges with remarkable resilience, humility, and unwavering determination to create a positive impact both on and off campus. The Puente program's vision is to empower scholars and uplift communities, and Wendy truly embodies what it means to be a Whittier Wendista. Her active involvement in the program reflects her deep commitment to education, as she actively seeks out environments that foster her growth and align with her core values. As a second-year academic mentor, Wendy selflessly dedicates her time to supporting and uplifting her peers, ensuring they have the guidance and encouragement they need to succeed in the classroom. Her ability to inspire and guide others was further recognized when she was named a winner of Cesar Chavez Day of Service through Puente during her sophomore year. Wendy's service to the community goes beyond just extracurricular activity. It is a true reflection of her deep-rooted values and her steadfast desire to make a positive impact in society. Her accomplishments are incredibly impressive, and when you consider that her parents didn't have the opportunity to finish high school, her success becomes all the more extraordinary. Against all odds, Wendy has carried the dreams of her family forward. With the Si Se Puede mentality at her core, she will undoubtedly make her mark as the first generation Latina in STEM, breaking barriers and inspiring those who follow. Wendy's involvement in the Puente program is just one aspect of her impressive journey. For the past 4 years, she has been an integral member of the Cardinal Academy of Technology, currently serving as this year's Academy President. While her academic achievements are consistently outstanding, it is a remarkable growth as a leader that truly sets her apart. As a senior, Wendy has thrived in her role as president, leading cabinet meetings with both professionalism and efficiency. She has mastered Robert's Rules of Order, demonstrating incredible aptitude for leadership. Wendy goes above and beyond in connecting with our community, including reaching out to local middle schools to create opportunities for engagement. She also serves as a mentor to the junior class, exemplifying the core values and spirit of the Cardinal Academy of Technology. In addition, Wendy is working on an ambitious senior capstone project, motorizing a full-size R2-D2 droid. Her progress on this project showcases not only her technical skills, but also her creativity, determination, and passion for innovation. She has consistently demonstrated a strong commitment to academic excellence throughout her high school years. By enrolling in rigorous course load, including advanced placement classes such as AP Physics C, AP Calculus, AP English Literature, AP Language, just to name a few, she has continually challenged herself and pushed the boundaries for her potential. Her dedication to her studies is reflected in her outstanding 4.32 GPA, which highlights both her aptitude and work ethic. Wendy's ability to balance such demanding coursework while maintaining top-tier academic performance is truly commendable and showcases her drive for success. Wendy's contribution to Whittier High School have left a lasting impact. I have no doubt she will continue to motivate and uplift those around her as she embarks on the next chapter of her journey, studying civil engineering at Cal Poly Pomona. Wendy, congratulations on receiving Whittier High School's Award of Merit. We are incredibly proud of you and look forward to seeing all the amazing things you will achieve in the future and continue Whittier High's legacy of excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, Wendy Carcamo.
Good evening, everyone. I am Wendy Carcamo. I want to thank Mr. Favela for his wonderful speech about me and for allowing me to stand here with the board, superintendent, and cabinet members. Thank you, Mr. Favela, for giving me the honor of representing Whittier High School. Thanks to everyone who nominated me for the Whittier High School Awards of Merit. I'd like to thank my family, friends, and everyone today who came to support. To my family and friends, thank you for always pushing me to strive for the best. Thank you for always showing constant support and following my journey. Thank you for lifting my moods when I am down and for always being there. To my parents, thank you for giving me life and being the strength, for being the strength that helps me conquer all my battles. From the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate all you have done for me. To my outstanding community at Whittier High School, thank you for guiding me in the right direction and being a community I can trust and be myself in. I'd like to thank all the amazing teachers and staff I have had throughout my years at Whittier High School. I'd like to thank the Puente program for showing me that the community you live in will always have your back and for giving me opportunities to give back to my loving community. I'd like to thank Ms. Sweeney from the Puente program who I had my freshman and sophomore year. She truly has a kind soul and is one of the teachers at Whittier High School who brings me comfort and has always shown me that giving back to your community is a wonderful thing. I would like to also thank Councilor Mencia from Puente. They always remind me and encourage me to pursue my career no matter my background or financial situation because there will always be help. Furthermore, I would like to thank my second counselor from CAT, or the Cardinal Academy of Technology, Ms. Lara Puente. I'd like to thank her for always checking up on me and for presenting me with opportunities that would benefit me. I would also like to give a special thanks to Mr. Francis, Mr. Swanson, and Mr. Oliver. Mr. Francis' attitude towards the world and constant reminders that he is there for us always make me want to attend class. I am glad he is my English teacher. He is a person who I aspire to have the energy of and has shown me that you can always see the good in the bad. To Mr. Swanson and Mr. Oliver, who I have had for 4 years, thank you. Thank you guys for treating me and the students in the academy as if we were your own. Thank you guys for always pushing me to take risks out of my comfort zone and making me laugh. I want to thank you guys for giving me, Nathan, Raquel, and Raquel the opportunity to finish the R2D2. Although we had a rough start, everything is falling into place and it's over. You guys have to see it. And we are working on the legs and the head. On the table over there, I don't know if you can see, but the piece of metal with the wheels is the foot we are currently working on. Thank you. And then the head, our friend Raquel is working on, and we hope to have it done by March. The R2D2 will include everything I have learned in CAD, that is coding, metronics, 3D design, and more. But I want to thank Swanson and Oliver for showing me valuable lessons that will help me as I strive to become a civil engineer at Cal Poly Pomona. Once again, to my family, friends, and community at Whittier High School, thank you for all you have done for me, and thank you for being the pieces that helped shape who I am. Thank you.
So that way they have a chance to be able to offer their acknowledgement, their recognition, their reactions. Let's start with Mr. Mendez.
Sí se puede, Wendy. Your academic excellence is just incredible. I'm very proud of you. I know it takes a lot of work, but for you to be able to balance that with all your other activities is just wonderful. And I especially appreciate that you take time to help others and help them succeed. That says a lot about your character. And so I wish you the best luck, not that you need it, but in your endeavors, and I'm looking forward to seeing you maybe even building something like that for NASA. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez. Mr. Lopez.
Mr. Favela, thank you. Thank you for introducing Wendy and her accomplishments and achievements. Thank you for that. And Wendy, of course, as always, Cisa Puede. I just want to talk about Robert's Rules of Order. That can take you very, very far. Okay, politically, with an organization, you are an expert, so it's going to take you far. And one last thing, you do have a beautiful mind, and I love the fact that, just like Mr. Mendez said, you're using it to help others. Keep doing that. Thank you, and congratulations.
Wendy, when I was sitting here and we were talking about the impact that Wendy has had on you and the impact that you have had on your community and your school, I was sitting here like a proud mama because my other hat is that I'm the statewide director of Puente for the high school and middle school programs. And so you're exactly what our mission is all about. And to see you, such a powerful student with a 4.32 GPA, getting into an area of technology and having such a mastery of giving back and being a strong leader, not only at your school but in the community, it's just amazing. You're so young and you already have all these things that you can really hold on in terms of skills and your leadership. So I know you're gonna fly so high. I appreciate that you called him R2D2 because bilingual he's Arturito too. But in any case, thank you for being a mentor to the junior class. They need somebody like you that to aspire to be like as a student. I also want to thank you for acknowledging your wonderful teachers and counselors because they are part of your journey. They've invested in you and you're here because they believe in you and in your principal as well. So continued congratulations. You really made me really proud. I took some pictures because I want to put you on the statewide newsletter. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Conchola. Rodriguez-Moisa.
One of the challenges of going at the end is that everyone has said so many of the wonderful things that were already in my own mind. So I want to echo every single sentiment that my colleagues have shared with you. I see the future so bright for you and for our community. And to go back full circle to a comment that Trustee Castañeda Calleros made at the beginning, seeing you and seeing your fellow students, and I know we're going to hear from your student representative tonight, this is why we as board members are here. We believe in you, we believe in your families, and thank you to your family for all the support they've done, because I know it takes a village, you're not alone. And I'm so proud of our teachers and the shout out you gave to our teachers and the staff, because our job here is to make sure that they are able to do what their calling is, which is to teach and invest and help you grow and build a better future. And I'm so proud of you, and I know I'm going to be seeing you one day somewhere on television. It might be SpaceX, it might be NASA, maybe JPL, or whatever it is that your heart, where you want to go. But congratulations, felicidades, and we look forward to watching you and your accomplishments. Thank you.
Wendy, I'm so just so wonderful to hear about your contributions. I have them written down here. Academic mentor, Cesar Chavez Day of Service Award, being active in STEM. Your capstone project is amazing. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. And when I saw the R2D2, because thanks to Olga Cedillo for sending me the picture, I was able to see the intricate parts that you put together. That is amazing. And I definitely want to see it in action when I get back in town. And I'm a Whittier High parent, so hearing you talk about Whittier High School, Wendy, filled me with such joy. It is a very special place to go to school. I can only imagine. I'm a Cal High Condor, but my daughter is a senior at Whittier right now, and she talks glowingly about her experience there. And what I really was taken by, Wendy, when you were speaking, I love the fact that you did recognize Miss Sweeney, Ms. Mancia, Mr. Swanson, Mr. Oliver, Mr. Francis, Ms. Ladacuente, of course, Mr. Favela. It's like a litany of the saints. You're talking about all these folks that are part of your success. And as Mr. Rodriguez Moisa mentioned, part of your village. I hope you can take them with you and take the love that Whittier High School has for you as you go on to Cal Poly Pomona and become a distinguished engineering major and aspire to God knows where, maybe JPL, who knows? Maybe NAS, but who knows? Sky's the limit for you. And I just want to close by saying thank you for not only thinking about yourself, but thinking about others around you. It's very clear, and Mr. Favela gave an excellent presentation and synopsis about what drives you and what gets you out of bed in the morning and why you're being honored tonight. So thank you, Wendy. And at this point, I'd like to ask Trustee Rodriguez Moisa to go down and meet you in front of the dais on my behalf. He's going to give you an award that has been signed by the Board of Trustees. Please join me in congratulating Wendy for coming.
We're going to take many photos. We're going to ask the board to join in the next photo.
Yes, thank you. If the board could join Wendy for the next photo so we get a board photo.
I'm waiting for it.
Come on in, trustees.
Laces. Yeah. Excuse me.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
And the next photo, we're going to ask all of her Whittier staff and family, the Whittier family, and then her actual family. Whittier counselors, teachers, administrators, friends who came to support her.
Join the cat side. Exactly. The short people.
Yeah. Do we fit?
Sideways.
Oh, wow, you're good once.
Sorry, just one sec. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Big smiles. One more. 1, 2, 3.
And last but certainly not least, all of Wendy's family. Parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, siblings, cousins. Hey, family.
Thank you so much. Congrats, Wendy. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll do a few more. Please hold. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Move a little bit closer. We don't need to be blocked. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's do one more. Sorry, I just want to make sure we have everybody. Okay, just kind of look to the side here. Ready? Final one. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful.
And then do you need one with just Wendy by herself?
Yes.
Good job, Matt.
Ready for you here. All future Cardinals.
Yeah, you can just do one here in the sun. Yeah. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Do one more for good measure. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then. Okay, I'm gonna do that to like next. Thank you so much and congratulations.
And Wendy, please know you and your family, you can leave whenever you want to. You know, board meetings are super exciting, but if you need to go.
Before the Whittier High School family leaves, though, I just wanted to ask Mr. Favela if you could return to the podium just really quickly. You gave such a wonderful presentation. I wanted to thank you. Put a lot of thought and heart into your nomination. And I also wanted to see if you could do us the honor of recognizing any members of your leadership team who happen to be with you tonight.
Oh, absolutely. We have our three wonderful assistant principals, Mr. Ramirez, Mr. Jenkins, our wonderful dean, Mr. Galindo. We have a couple of our counselors here, Mel Mancia and Ms. Lara Puente. Teachers, Mr. Swanson, Mr. Oliver, Mr. Francis. Am I missing any other teachers here? I think we've got them all. That's it, sir.
Thank you, Whittier High School team. We love you very much for all that you do for our students every day.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Call this meeting to order. We have just emerged from closed session. No action was taken. And so now we will move on to our Pledge of Allegiance and acknowledgement. And so to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance, may I ask our Whittier High School student representative, Lyric Gunderson, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Lyric, would you do us the honors, please?
Yes. Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Oh, sorry. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lyric. I put you on the spot there. You did very well. We look forward to hearing from you a little bit later tonight. So our next item is our land acknowledgement. And Dr. Oviedo, if you could do us the honor of reading our land acknowledgement.
And Lyric is actually going to read that as well.
Oh, very good, Lyric.
The Whittier High School School District acknowledges the presence in the traditional ancestral land of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples, which includes the villages of Chokishna, now Santa Fe Springs, Sihate, now Los Nietos Whittier, and the village of Sijetna, now Whittier San Gabriel River area. This land remains unceded territory. Whittier Union High School District honors and respects the Gabrielino Tongva ancestors and their connection to this land.
Thank you very much, Lyric. I think you may be the first student in history to read the land acknowledgement at our board meeting, so congratulations. And thank you very much for honoring our peoples. Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez-Moisa, and thank you all. And again, students, Cardinals, we're so happy that you're here tonight and we get to celebrate you. And again, you elevate us with your beautiful music. So thank you again, and keep up the great work, and go Cardinals. Students, that brings us to item 6, approval of the minutes. So do I have a motion to approve the minutes for our January 11th board meeting?
Second.
It was moved by Mr. Lopez.
Cachola.
And second?
Lopez.
I didn't hear a second. Is there a second?
Mr. Lopez.
Do you hear me, Chair? I second it.
Oh, Oh, thank you. Okay, so Mr. Lopez seconded. I think there's a little trouble with my hearing you, so if you don't mind, maybe you could raise your right hand when you make a motion.
So I made the motion.
Sorry. You made the motion, you made the motion, Ms. Controller. Thank you so much.
And I seconded it, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Lopez seconded. Very good. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Any discussion about the minutes? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, second, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Item 7.01, consider approval of the tonight's February 11th board agenda. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Ms. Rodriguez-Moisa, I will
Moved
move.
by Rodriguez-Moisa, thank you.
Second.
Second by Ms. Controller, did I see it?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve tonight's agenda. Any discussion on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, I call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you very much. The ayes have it. Item has been approved. Okay, so the next item we have on our agenda tonight is community comments. And so I'll turn to Dr. Oviedo and Ms. Cedillo. Do we have any community comments tonight?
Yes, we do. So we're going to have 6 community comments on the topic of our school district and ICE. And so I'm going to read something and then I'll call each one to come up. And in the interest of time, I'll definitely tell you who's on deck to speak next. And so I'm going to ask Lee Gies to come up, and I apologize if I'm reading that wrong. It looks like Emily Lee Gies. And as you're coming up, let me just read really quickly that you please be aware that government code prohibits the board from taking any action or discussing comments in the meeting unless it's been on the agenda. All request cards have been turned in, I believe. In the interest of time, you'll have 3 minutes on the particular topic. Mr. Jamero over there is going to have a little timer on the iPad so that you can monitor your time. And so in the interest of time, we want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to speak. With that, go ahead.
All right, my name is Lee Gies and I'm a senior at Cal High, and in light of recent events and frankly some frightening executive decisions, a lot of students are feeling out of control just in general at the political state of the world, and particularly in the school districts, like the prospect of the school district and how it will respond if an ICE raid happens in or near a school. And one of the ways that you can express these worries, one of the ways that you can make a change is by protesting. And I did attend a protest at our school recently last week. While it wasn't like fully authorized by the school, I don't think it can exactly. It was still an expression of our right to protest, and I believe that organizing a club to unite students from different schools to discuss and take action on these topics would be a fantastic idea and a way to strengthen our community and to inform people, because the worst possible thing that somebody can be right now is uninformed. So informing students of their rights in particular is also incredibly important. And above all, I think I speak for all of us when I say we really want to be assured that our schools are safe for us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Alison Orellana Mejia, and on deck is Marlon Luna. And just as a matter of protocol, I'm going to ask if you can speak to the board, because when you think of a board meeting, it's almost like there's a fishbowl, and so you're not really paying attention to the audience, but the board, if you could, that would be fabulous. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Alison Orellana Mejia and I'm a senior at Cal High. The topic of immigration is very important to me because my entire community is built up of immigrants. They're the reason why I'm here right now.
they came here to work and to make a living for themselves. And seeing all these ICE raids and the impact this has on individuals and their families is incredibly disheartening. And not only do I see the fear and worry in my community, I feel it in myself too. And due to current events, my fellow students are afraid that their families will miss milestones in their lives, such as graduation or even day-to-day functions like family dinners. And all we ask of this district is support, to support both immigrants and families of immigrants. And one way to do this is to implement like a unity club, but not only just at California High School, but like all the schools in the district. So Whittier High, Pioneer, Lucerna, all those different schools, if there's like a club where we can all like join and talk about the concerns we have in our community. And along with this, like Lee said, is to have students know about their rights. So an example of that would be like having like red cards, which are like cards that tell people what their constitutional rights are in case that they come in contact with the immigration officer. Thank you.
Marlon Luna, if you can come up, and on deck is Benicio Morales.
Hi, my name is Marlon Luna. I'm a sophomore at Cal High, and I'm here today to address various aspects of immigration policies on how they've affected my community. I was a part of the walkout on Thursday, which was an active voicing of our freedom to gather and protest. This was met with backlash through my school and from other districts, such as Saturday school, truancies, etc. I'm here to ask the school board for amnesty regarding student protests, as it would allow for a safer environment for students, for students when we feel it is necessary to make ourselves be heard. Furthermore, I'd like to encourage an after-school club that focuses on human rights as well as issues faced in our community. This club would connect schools part of our district in efforts to unify our collective student action. I would also like to highlight the new policies on ICE that prevent enforcement officers from entering, but I would like the school board to affirm that no information about the individual or their family will be shared with ICE. Lastly, I want the board to note that as a student, I have not been educated as my rights as a minor under your authority or as a citizen of this country. As a high school student, I feel it is necessary to implement rights education into not only our curriculum, but our school environment, as it is a growing priority for many in this country. To close, my mother and my grandmother are both legal immigrants who came to this country in hopes for a better life. However, they have struggled to see the positivity when their rights are being threatened. Just as a person in this community, it's hard having friends and family who are scared just to leave their homes, and in many ways it affects student life, regardless of affiliation to immigrants. As kids, we need to continue to stay vigilant on our rights, and I think that the school board can make a true impact in this community. Thank you for your time.
Next, Benicio Morales, and on deck is Claudia Morales.
Hello, my name is Benicio Morales. I'm a freshman and I attend California High School. Last week, I was part of the student walkout on Thursday. I'm here because I believe no student should live in constant fear of losing a loved one, and that no one in our community should have to endure hateful rhetoric and abuse of power. I strongly suggest the school board support us with these requests. I feel there should be a Know Your Rights training required so that students can share with their peers how to protect themselves. I also propose an after-school unity club so that students from all schools in the district can learn and share about immigrant and human rights and how to fight for them. And I believe ICE should never be allowed on campus. School should be a welcome environment for all students to learn without fear of losing their loved ones. Schools should provide the necessary resources to help people protect themselves, their friends, and their families. Thank you.
Claudia Morales, and on deck is Rosa Marquez.
Hello, my name is Claudia, and I'm the mother of Benicio and Joaquin. They both go to Cal High. They were both part of the protest, and they were exercising their right to civil disobedience and to let their voices be heard. And I wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, I was really grateful that their physical safety was shored up, and I want to thank Lizette for taking measures to make sure that they were physically safe. It was really important. And the principal actually joined us, as did the vice principal, and I felt like that was an act of keeping them safe, and I appreciate that. I also want to echo the kids. I've been a therapist for 14 years, and I worked in immigrant rights, in the immigrant rights movement. And when people are constantly in hypervigilance, it's extremely hard to learn. And these kids really care about their peers and their community. And I just want to ask that you honor their request for reaffirming the sanctuary status in the district, a unity club that unifies all the schools and that where they can teach one another, and we can also call in community experts to teach about their basic human rights. It's not lost on me that the only right that people are aware of is the right to bear arms, and that's very unfortunate. I also want to request transparent communication so that the kids are understanding how policies may affect them and their families. And sharing the Know Your Rights cards, and to ensure, if possible, that there be no retaliation for this walkout, as it was a necessary expression of the tension that they're feeling. Thank you.
Ms. Marquez, Rosa Marquez.
Hello, my name is Rosa Marquez. I am a student at California High School and I am a sophomore. I'm here because I participated in the march on Thursday in an attempt to bring attention to the recent news and policies released that have an effect on students' well-being and safety. This brings me to the requests I have gathered in hopes of collaborating in the new future to help these happen. My first request is that there is ensured safety of students on campus by making sure that ICE is not allowed on campus, nor will they be permitted to gather individual student information. Second is to assist in the establishment of a club that promotes unity between schools in the district and acts as a space for education by teaching students their rights and steps they can take to protect themselves or loved ones. My third request connects back to the well-being of students, as I am requesting that schools in the district bring transparent communication about new federal policies and what effect they have. My final request is to help ensure that those who participated in the march experienced no retaliation, as the march was an act of acknowledgement that the possible lack of safety is detrimental to the students. These requests are a top priority to me because of how I am inconsistent, worry for not only the fear of losing friends and their families, but for losing my own father who is undocumented. I hope to collaborate in the near future on these requests. Thank you for your time.
Share my superintendent comments. I will be talking about this, so I do invite those who are interested in staying to hear about what we have put in place during my comments. So now we're going to shift to our other two community comments. And the first is Zoe Alvarez, and on deck will be Catherine Suarez.
Hi, my name is Zoe Alvarez, for those of you who do not know who I am, and I want to thank you. I'm talking about the renaming of the Sierra High School gym. And after Coach Pete Lopa, I have it on my book. So I met Coach Pete when I was 15 years old, and I never knew how much he would change my life. He was always there for my teammates and I for the important moments on and off the court. My teammates and I always wanted to make him proud and do our best to show our thanks for everything he had done for us. He taught me so much about not only basketball, but how to handle day-to-day life. Coach Pete gave me the opportunity to coach my first team with Whittier NJB here at Sierra High School when I was 19 years old. I had 8 years of experience as a player, but none as a coach. He let me know when the first practice would be, and I walked into that first day expecting just to help out, demonstrate a few things. However, to my surprise, as soon as I got there, he told me, okay, you're ready, this is your team. I'll be running practice and taking over for him this season. I was taken aback thinking he was joking, but he was absolutely serious. That day is where my love of basketball as a coach and not just a player began. He taught me so much that my first year and helped guide me to being the coach and person I am today. I just finished my 7th year of coaching girls high school basketball, and today was the first game of my 5th season coaching lacrosse at California High School. That would not have been possible without his help and him believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. He taught me that although winning is great, it is not the most important part of coaching. It is about inspiring the future generations to believe in themselves for everything they set their mind to do. To be a coach is to be a role model and to lead by example, which is exactly what he did for me for so many years. I am just one example of the hundreds of young athletes he has impacted within this community. If I can even inspire a fraction of the amount of young athletes he has touched, I would owe it all to him. Thank you again for allowing me to speak to all of you tonight with the hope of honoring Coach Pete and his legacy by renaming the gym here at Sierra High School. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kathy Suarez. I am a proud Condor mom. Kids all graduated. I just want to say good evening to esteemed board members, the Whittier School Board and the community. I stand before you today to propose a meaningful change that would honor the legacy of an extraordinary man who made an indelible impact on the Whittier community, Coach Pete Lopa. I'm advocating for the renaming of Sierra Gym to reflect his contributions not only to our local athletics, but to the very heart of our community. Coach Pete Lopa was far more than just a basketball coach. He was a mentor, a father figure, and a true leader who deeply cared for the young people he guided. His work with Whittier Thunder Basketball and NGB was not just about teaching the game of basketball, but about teaching life lessons. Many of his players come from low-income families or broken homes with a path that could have easily landed them in prison or even worse. And Coach Pete Lopa showed them what it meant to be part of a family and a team that supports each other, believes in one another, and lifts each other up. One of those players currently plays professionally overseas, while others have served the country by joining the military. Beyond the court, Coach Lopa was a tireless advocate for community involvement. He believed true success wasn't just measured in points for win, but in the ability to give back to others. He regularly took his teams to LA Skid Row and First Coalition here in Whittier, where he worked with his basketball families, gathering donations of personal hygiene products for the residents who brought homemade lunch made by the players themselves. This exposed them to the realities of poverty, taught them the importance of empathy, responsibility, and service to others. He also worked with the battered women and children's shelter in Pasadena, where he worked with his teams to collect toys and books to give those children a safe place to play during the holidays. He entered one team into a tournament against a team of children with disabilities where they learned patience and humility. He also partnered with the foster program associated with Whittier Area Community Church, where players signed up to purchase Christmas gifts and plan activities for the children. He advocated for his class of 2015 and 2017 boys and girls to play in a tournament in Kona, Hawaii, for which he fundraised and giving the majority of those players a chance to explore outside of their own fences for the first time or fly in an airplane. Those experiences helped shape many of his players into individuals who understand the importance of helping those in need and being a positive force in society. Memories that will span a lifetime to citizens now contributing to our society. From members of the military to medicine, entrepreneurs, engineers, overseas professional players, college students and players, high school, middle school players, they are a community Pete helped build. Other teams have tried to imitate. While they have good intentions, they're never as pure as Pete's were. Pete never made any money. It was never about the money for him, but about leaving the world a better place. And he accomplished this 10 times over. Is that 3 minutes? Okay. So I'll just get to that. So if you can just, the consideration in support of honoring my friend's memory.
Mr. Chair, could we give her 1 minute, if that's okay, well, Lord?
I will allow a 1 minute extension.
Thank you.
I'll read fast. The impact Coach Pete Lopa had on his players was also recognized by the Whittier Daily News, which featured a special piece on the Thunder team. The article highlighted not just their athletic achievements, but the way they used their platform to make a difference in the community. Coach Pete's integrity did not go unnoticed by Byron Scott of the Los Angeles Lakers. Whittier Thunder was highlighted on the news the day Byron Scott was named as head coach of the Lakers, with the announcement of Pete's Whittier Thunder team being partnered with Byron Scott's organization. Pete Lopez's leadership beyond coaching, it was centered around integrity and developing a sense of purpose and community. If you knew him, his passion was infectious. He had a way with adults and children that only a loving father, grandfather, and papa had. He listened, he made every person feel important, and I have no doubt in my mind you'd be friends with him today. I urge you to consider this proposal not just as a name change, but as recognition of a life dedicated to the betterment of young student athletes in Whittier and surrounding cities. A name above the gym doors is more than just a label, it's a symbol of everything Coach Pete Lopez stood for, and it would inspire generations of athletes to come, reminding them of what it truly means to be part of the community. I'd like to leave you with 15 pages of over 500 signatures that we collected, over 500 local and surrounding former players, co-workers, friends, families who knew Pete and are in complete agreement with this call to action. And I pray that you really do consider him when you start your decision making on the naming of the gym.
Thank you, Ms. Suarez.
Okay, I believe that concludes our public comments tonight. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and as Dr. Oviedo mentioned earlier, I imagine my colleagues may be addressing one or more of these topics during their work with us tonight, so I invite you to stay as long as you can, especially to our students. Thank you very much. This brings us to item 10. We have a report tonight. Our student representative, Lyric Gunderson, from the Student Advisory Council, representing Whittier High School.
Hello.
Lyric, welcome to our dais.
Okay, hello, my name is Lyric Anderson, and I would like to say a few things about what my school is doing. Upcoming, we have Cardinal competitions, which is just a way for students at our school to get involved. That will be put in place sometime late February, early March. Our senior class will be selling chocolate-covered strawberries and roses for Valentine's Day. We have 2 Spirit Weeks going on. We have our Valentine's Day Spirit Week for the students, and that is going on this week, along with our Staff Kindness Spirit Week, which is for the teachers. Senior Sunset is also coming up, and end of the year events that are pretty important to our ASB are Powder Puff. Even though we have our newest adopted sport, girls flag football, we found that Powder Puff is a very nice way to get our school involved and get our community thriving. It's also a great fundraiser for us. And that is on May 2nd. Our farewell dance will be taking place of our Spring Fling, and that's on May 16th. It's a casual dance, just like jeans and a t-shirt, and it's for students of all grades to get to come together one last time. Our farewell assembly will be on May 24th, and that is an assembly put together by ASB. The theme for this year's is Sesame Street, the little children's show. It's to acknowledge the seniors along with our Bob Chandler and Patty Credo award winners. Baccalaureate is May 31st, and although it used to be religious, Whittier High School has taken this event to sort of acknowledge the talent that is hidden in our school. It's mainly for seniors to get to wear their caps, gowns, stoles, and cords another time before graduation. And also they will be given multiple opportunities to take photos. And the most exciting one, in my opinion, is we are hosting Back to the Future. Basically what's happening is a fundraiser for our Hall of Champions, but we will be doing a viewing of Back to the Future at our school. There will be brick house pizza, campus tours, photo opportunities, and it'll be in the Vic Lopez Auditorium, and it'll be $40 a person, but all proceeds go towards the Hall of Champions. Thank you.
Time over at Whittier High School. Some of the events coming up, and thank you so much for all your work in planning the reporting tonight and being with us. And I think, Mr. Mendez, I think you were at Whittier High School when you filmed Back to the Future, right?
I sure was.
Very good. Well, Lyric, I know you've been with us for a little while, so if you need to excuse yourself to work on your homework or on more ASP activities, we would acknowledge that and understand. You're welcome to stay if you'd like to stay to the end of our board meeting too.
Thank you so much for having me, but I do have homework.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. 2.02, and we'll start with the Whittier Secondary Education Association, otherwise known as WSCA. Representing WSCA tonight, we have with us Mr. Matt Francis. Mr. Francis, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Dr. Castaneda. Good evening, family, friends, administrators, trustees, and honored guests. I'd like to thank all of my WSCA brothers, sisters, and their families for joining me tonight. It is my privilege to speak on behalf of the dedicated and passionate educators who make a profound impact on the lives of our students each and every day. In unprecedented times like these, it is easy to fall into an unending cycle of despair. However, when things appear bleak, I look to those who actively seek to leave the world a better place. One of those individuals is the recipient of the 2024-25 WHO Award. The WHO Awards, presented by the California Teachers Association, recognize educators who demonstrate exceptional leadership, service, and advocacy within their local chapters, schools, and communities. These awards honor individuals who go above and beyond in their commitment to public education and their success of students and colleagues. I think instead of we honor ours, we should rename it to WSA honors ours. On behalf of WSA, and I think she is still in the back, I would like to extend an invitation to the board and to our district administration to honor Miss Darla Breiling on April 23rd. Darla is an integral part of WSCA's Rep Council as well as leadership here on the transition program. I will send more information to Dr. Oviedo, but if you're interested in celebrating all that Darla has accomplished, please let us know by Wednesday, March 26th. This commitment to hope, resilience, and action is what sustains our community of educators, even when the challenges before us feel insurmountable. Every day I see teachers going above and beyond, finding ways to connect with students, foster curiosity, and nurture a sense of safety and belonging in their classrooms. Their work, and your work, is the cornerstone of a brighter future. Hope is not passive. It requires effort, courage, and unity. When faced with policies or circumstances that seem to hinder rather than help, it can be tempting to throw up our hands and say, what difference can I make? Yet, history has shown us time and time again that change begins when individuals and communities dare to believe that their actions matter. As Helen Keller once said, optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. And in this room, we have the power to make a difference, to advocate for policies that empower teachers, support students, and prioritize equity and inclusion. We know that the road ahead won't be easy. We will encounter obstacles, disagreements, and setbacks. But we know that despair has never been the force that drives progress. Instead, it is WSCA's unwavering belief that our work, however challenging or unrecognized it may feel at the moment, is laying the foundation for something greater. In the words of John Lewis, you are a light. You are the light. Never let anyone, any person, or any force dampen, dim, or diminish your light. Tonight, I urge each of us to embrace hope and transform it into meaningful action. Whether it's by supporting a colleague, extending patience and kindness to anyone in need, or standing firmly for what is just, let us remember that our efforts create ripples far beyond what we can immediately perceive. In 2014, John Lewis delivered a commencement speech at Emory University and told the graduating class, with your great education, you must find a way to get in the way. You must find a way to get in trouble. Good trouble. Necessary trouble. And Kipling reminds us in that we must trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating. Our students, my students, Wendy and thousands like her in the district look to us, classified, certificated, administration, and the Board of Trustees for leadership, for encouragement, and for the reassurance that even in challenging times, there are adults who will persevere for them and for the betterment of our shared world. In this spirit of hope and purpose, let us continue to move forward together. Thank you.
Representing CSCA tonight, we have with us Mr. Juan Rodriguez. Juan, good to have you here. At this point, I think we will begin our board reports. I have 11, and as I usually do, I start to, well, tonight, Mr. Mendez, you're on my far left.
Sure.
So it's all perspective. So if you don't mind, do you have a board report tonight, Mr. Mendez?
Yes, I want to welcome Mr. Lacey, and I want to acknowledge, Juan, your comments. I join you in the spirit of collaboration and of justice and respect, so I'm with you on that. Matt, your words are so inspiring and so appropriate tonight. You know, I represent South Whittier, and I live in Southside Whittier, predominantly an immigrant community. I live among immigrants. 4 out of 5 of my neighbors are immigrants, so I listen and I'm very close to them. And I want to thank the students who showed up today, who protested. You have great courage, and I think you represent your class very well. And I want to encourage you to continue to exercise your right. I support you 110%. And you're absolutely right. You know, you need to organize. You need to start a unity group. You need to start talking about this. You need to prepare for what could happen. And what could happen is parents could be taken, students could be taken. And our community needs to be prepared for that. And to know your rights is very important. Don't answer the door. Search warrants are kind of crazy these days on whether or not they are. And no retaliation on behalf of the school district. I don't think we should be engaging in that. I want to tell you about a story that just happened recently to me. I teach karate at Mayberry Park, and one evening, not too long ago, as I was teaching about 30 students, predominantly immigrants, families. You know, I teach immigrants and I teach their children. And one night, 2 sheriff's deputies came to the door. The door was open. They came to the door, and as I looked at the door, my students looked at the door, and the parents, they screamed bloody murder with some curling scream that I have not heard in my school before. They all ran behind me, and the parents got up and ran to the corner. This was an awful, scary experience. Now, what I know is what the students didn't know, or the parents didn't know, that the sheriffs are our friends, that the sheriffs are not cooperating with ICE. They didn't know that. They saw 2 white guys in uniforms with guns at the door, and they reacted. That caused me great concern, is that I obviously need to step up my efforts to help protect them, and protect the students and the parents. So what that turned out to be is a meeting with some community people within the 6 square blocks of my community, which is predominantly immigrant. I mean predominantly. And we talked about how we could prepare for ICE raids. Fortunately, or maybe not fortunately, the homeboys in my area have already developed a system to alert for unmarked cars in the community. It's the old whistle, and so I bought whistles on Amazon and we passed them out in the 4 square blocks. And we established protocols on what to have, how our response was going to be should they show their face. And also is what happens if children are taken, or primarily parents are taken. There needs to be a plan for that. Because if parents are taking, they're not coordinating, any services for children. They're just taking adults. And so we have a plan. And also, what to do for legal rights. And everybody needs to know legal rights. We produced a little 1 sheet about this size in Spanish on what to do if someone knocks on your door. And so I'm also part of a group statewide that we're sharing other elected officials what we're going to do in our communities. So you're on the right track. You know, I've been involved in marches and all immigrant rights for a long time. And I'm old now. And I see what you're doing as your time to step up, your time to defend your community and to define what this country is going to be about. And I think I applaud you. I mean, I want to support you in your efforts. So whatever I could do, please get a hold of me on the website and I will help you as much as I can. So I applaud you for that. Amnesty International, I started that in high school at Whittier High. I started it in the city. That's a good organization to get involved with because there's protocols on how to protect your human right. And I had a pending question to the superintendent last month, whether I know what the sheriffs, what their protocol is. What I don't know is Whittier PD. In my experience when I was young in 187, Proposition 187, is I was concerned about cooperation that Whittier PD had with ICE. So I think we need to ask Whittier PD, what is their policy? Will they cooperate with ICE? Will they not? Because, what is it? I think it's Lucerna and Whittier High that are Whittier PD, so we need to find that out. We need to know what's going to happen with that. And see, outside of that, I had a couple of things. Whittier High School, I don't think there's any Whittier High School people, but I was going to challenge students to say that I still want swag from Whittier High, being a Whittier Cardinal myself. I will pay a student $50 if they identify how I could buy a sweatshirt or something, and I'll pay for it. I want some Whittier High School.
Same place as when I was a student there. Just go to the B&A office.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so they sound, okay, I'm gonna do that, thank you. Thank you. I also a concern that I think we discussed a little bit last month is wanting to know the academic GPA spread, especially seniors of every high school. It's about A to F, what does that look like? To be able to know that gives me information on what to think of. And so I'm still hoping that we get that information. Is academic spread A through F, and to see where students are at in the categories. But that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez. Mr. Lopez, do you have a report tonight?
Hold on. Mr.
So trustee Castellanos, we have Mr. Lacy raising his hand.
Pardon, I know this may be out of order, but
Mr. Lacy, if you could just be brief with your response, because
I will be.
It's usually the time when the board
Honoring that LA is a sanctuary city, can we honor that our bus drivers don't open their doors for ICE?
Okay.
Could we make that commitment?
Yeah, I will propose it.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate you saying that. It's not agendized in our agenda tonight, but it's worth considering for future board meetings, and thank you for that ask, and it's duly noted.
I apologize for being out of order, sir.
No problem at all. Mr. Lopez, thank you for recognizing Mr. Lacy's hand. You may begin your report, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chair and fellow board members, as you heard a couple of speakers talk about renaming the gym after Mr. Pilopa. The only thing I ask, I'm not gonna talk about it, it's just the only thing I ask, please accept the 500 plus signatures for the Pilopa petition that was presented to us tonight to be entered for the record. First and foremost, I want to let the students, staff, and community know I am aware and just as concerned of what's going on politically at the national and state level and its impact on our district. I am in constant communication with superintendent on ways to help our students, families, with resources that are available. The goal is to make sure that everyone here at the district feels safe, valued, and respected. In regards to the student protest, we're seeing at the district level, what they tell me is one, students are informed and they are concerned. Two, They want their voice to be heard. And 3, they are sending a strong message to do something and to assure them. Chair and fellow board members, I believe that we can do more to help our district families feel safer in these trying times. We must be committed to keep in mind the most vulnerable members of our communities. I see that other school districts are taking a proactive approach by having a Know Your Rights workshop, for example. Another idea may be to inform students and family members about the district protocols, including Whittier PD's role. In addition, I'm open to penning a letter to our U.S. senators, Congress members, and our governor on the stance of public education, worker rights, immigration, and the elimination of the U.S. Department of Education. To wrap up my comments, I want to share with the board and the community that I attended a few events this past month, including the grand opening ceremony of the science classroom at Frontier High. Thank you, superintendent and staff, for choosing 2 students to be part of the ribbon cutting ceremony. Great work, everyone. A walkthrough of the Carpenters Union Training Center, along with a couple of staff members from the district. And also I sat in a few basketball games. And finally, I want to congratulate all the teams that made it to the CIF playoffs, and good luck. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Appreciate your report tonight. Ms. Controla, do you have a report tonight?
Yes. First of all, I want to thank the students for their fortitude, for their bravery, not only in protesting, but then also in coming up to this, board of adults and doing such a beautiful job at your presentations. So, number one, un aplauso. I mean, a great applause. One of my greatest mentors was Mr. Sal Castro. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was the one that, the teacher that supported the students in the LA walkouts. I kept thinking about Mr. Castro when you were up there. It would have given him so much pride, to have another generation of activists that care about their community, that have a tab of what's going on in terms of the real fears. And you're not alone. All of this immigration reality causes me anxiety because I care so much for our families and for our students. To the point where sometimes I lose sleep, But one of the things that a good friend of mine who's a priest at Our Lady of Perpetual Help said at our mass last week is that, he said, you have to be the light in the time of darkness. And that phrase really hit me really hard because I thought, there's things that we have no control over, like, policies that are pushed upon us, but there are things that we do have control. There's control about, making people aware of their rights. That was something that was really underlined in your comments. There's unity and there's power in unity when we come together as a community to protect our immigrant brothers and sisters. And the fact that, you're already having that vision to be in the forefront of that leadership. I am truly proud of you. I was also thinking about, that it was the student voice that led to DACA, right? It was students that were no longer, willing to stay behind doors. They were willing to risk it all. And so I see you as much of that, a reflection of all those great young leaders. I know several of you mentioned that you were in the 10th or 11th grade, and there's an amazing free program called the Chicano Latino Youth Leadership Project that I want you to apply for. The deadline is in March. I know that we shared some information with Mel as your counselor Whittier.
and at Cal High. I know the Puente counselors for sure have that information, so you could, I want you to apply. And so the other thing was, Mr. Franceth, I just wanted to thank you always for your deep-hearted words. You have really demonstrated in all of your comments that you have the students as the center of the effort of your efforts and the efforts of the organization. So I just really want to thank you for that. And thank you both also for joining us tonight. Mr. Lacey, it's very nice to meet you. And I look forward for all of us to work together with you. There was one thing, you mentioned about that you wanted to bring the union back in Whittier Union. I really believe that in Whittier Union we do have unity. There's a lot of interest, a lot of collaboration between all of our staff, all of our teachers. There's dedicated parents, there's amazing students. There is union. I believe that the process of negotiation is something like it was mentioned in terms of collaboration. And I agree with all of that. And I think that from my understanding is that things are going, really positively. And I'm glad that it's in that direction. But I do want to acknowledge that I do feel that we do have union already, and we can just enhance on that. Finally, I wanted to share that I did go to Lucerna High School for the Student of the Month recognition, and it was just so heartwarming to hear about all the fantastic works that our students are doing at different levels, and that their teachers are so proud of their work. Also on February the 8th, which was this last Saturday, we had the Puente Student Leadership Conference at UC Riverside, so we had both Lucerna and Cal High students that participated in numerous workshops. They heard a wonderful keynote speaker, and they were part of over 800 students that were there. So it was very empowering for our Lucerna and Cal High students to understand that they're part of a bigger movement, an educational movement, so that they can be supported to succeed in not only in higher education but just in life. And then finally, in this challenging political climate, we have to stand together as a united front to really support our students. There's no need, for them to have to live on a daily basis with anxiety and fear of what can happen to their families, what can happen to their community members. And just like Mr. Franceth said, there's a lot of caring adults that are gathered behind you, that stand strong in terms of immigration rights. One of the things that I just have the privilege of being in really strong, important decision-making circles, and I have been trying to funnel the information that I gather to the Superintendent Oviedo, to some of my colleagues, and I want us to be educated. I did also want to mention, in terms of, I know that my colleague mentioned about some of the students were talking about knowing your rights. The only caution that was given to me by the Cesar Chavez Foundation was that they're staying away from that because there's been occasions where ICE finds out that some of these gatherings are taking place and they're going there. And so people are being creative in terms of how to share the information, like via Zoom, but nothing is being recorded anymore. And to be protective of the for some of the individuals that might be in that room. So Again, I'm trying to tap into all the resources, all the information, so that I could bring it back to our district and be prepared to support our students and their families. Thank you.
For your report. Ms. Rodriguez-Moisa, do you have a report tonight?
I do. I also want to start with the making some comments in response to the students' comments. For those of you who have seen me on this dais over the last couple of years, I think you will appreciate that as an attorney, I have a hard time sort of talking about personal experiences. I feel like I should focus on the jurisdictional documents that are in front of us, the agenda, etc. So I'm going to ask for a bit of personal privilege here to share personally a story to sort of reinforce to you as students why I am supporting of you and will go even further than you've even requested. I grew up as the daughter of immigrants. My parents and grandparents immigrated here to the Ventura County area in Oxnard and Saticoy. They were farm workers. My grandfather, my grandmother, my mother, my father for a time, then he became a handyman. All of my aunts were all farm workers. I began working in the fields myself at the young age of 5. I have pictures of myself. I have pictures of my family marching with Cesar Chavez back in those days, in Saticoy, in Fillmore, in Santa Paula, that whole area. One of the experiences I had growing up is that, I don't know if anyone here has ever had it, but we had, at that point, it was the INS, the Immigration Naturalization Service, so in the 1970s, came and raided our home, not once, not twice, but 3 times. To the point that my dad had created, because he was a handyman by this point, there was a closet that he had covered up, that we put this big picture over, and if somebody knocked on the door and they're from INS, we didn't know any better, right? We didn't know our rights. And the immigration officers would come in, all the kids and my parents would be put in one room, and it was incredibly frightening, incredibly frightening. There was a time when a couple of my cousins were taken because they weren't documented. It was that life experience, along with others, that led me to be a lawyer. And I am a lawyer now. I was a civil rights lawyer for the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund for the first 5 years of my career. During that time, I was in the Prop 187 case. Somebody referenced it earlier. Mr. Mendez was a young man. I guess I was a young woman at the time, in the early 1990s. And one of the things that happened as a result of Prop 187, of course, was that MALDEF was one of the leaders in leading the fight. Some of those provisions did survive, many did not. And many did not survive because there is a legal principle that only the federal government can enforce immigration laws, and not states. A state can adopt its own anti-immigration or regulatory immigration provisions because they had a ton of police cooperating with the INS at the time, now it's ICE. And I'm very proud of the work that we did and my colleagues. I recall being told, though, that we had to have others speak on our behalf. Like as Latino lawyers, we were not the most persuasive in the members of the press, and so we had to get Caucasian colleagues to be quoted. So I can tell you that it was a learning lesson in advocacy and obviously a lifetime commitment. As a result of that, I also ensured that everybody in my family who was eligible became a U.S. citizen at that time. We went through the process, the filling the paperwork out, and if you've been in this country longer than I believe it's 30 years, you don't even have to pass the language exam anymore. And so I want to share with you students this experience for me, because then when I went off to UC Berkeley, as a high school student, it seemed a little bit blasé. We didn't have all kinds of stuff going on, if you will. I mean, we had prom and all that, but we didn't have big political activities. But when I went off to UC Berkeley, I was involved in many, many protests. And I will tell you, the sense of justice, the sense of caring for others, the sense of community is incredible. And I applaud you for it and for the strength for coming up here. I agree with all my colleagues. I will do more than what you request. My understanding from talking with the superintendent is that Whittier PD has agreed it will not cooperate with any immigration officials. If we haven't gotten that commitment in writing, we need to get it in writing. Absolutely, number one. Number two, I'm willing to go to jail to ensure that no immigration official comes on our campuses, goes on our buses, to ensure that our students feel as safe as possible. That's how strongly I feel about this. I am so proud of you for caring for others. I know some of you are impacted directly. I still am. I talked to my mother this morning. My mother's scared, even though she's a naturalized citizen. My grandmother's scared. She's a naturalized citizen. We have family who's undocumented. And there's nothing we can do for them right now in terms of legal processes, etc., except to be there and be strong and to fight. And so I don't really care about sending a letter to the U.S. Senate. I'm going to tell you that right now. I want local action. I want local commitment from our local law enforcement, because that's where we control. We can say to them, no, you can't come on our campus. Whatever the federal government's going to do, we've also got to get ready for new elections in less than 2 years. That's the only way things are going to change, is if we change the majority in Congress and the majority in the Senate. And unfortunately, for the next year and a half, we'll be playing defense. For my personal opinion, I don't want to speak for anyone. I'm speaking for myself, my personal opinion. So I want to share with you, as our students who came here to speak, Rosa Marquez, Bernicio Morales, Marlon Luna, Allison Mejia, Emily, I didn't catch your last name. I see you, I hear you, I support you. Whatever you need, and we need to do it locally. It's no time to go to the state per se, it's no time to go to the feds. It's what do we need to do in our community to protect our community and our students. I'm also proud of the fact that, as I was an attorney at MALDEF, that MALDEF litigated the case called Plyler versus Doe, that ensures that public education is a basic civil right in our country for all students in our country, regardless of immigration status. Now, Plyler versus Doe, be candid with you, because I read all the legal newspapers, is going to be challenged. There are going to be legal filings in other states that will try to challenge that legal premise. Our job is to ensure that it doesn't succeed, that it gets fought. And in terms of the Know Your Rights issues, I know that some of the California State Universities and the UCs have developed some stuff that they are handing out to students. Obviously, we have resources, and I'll let the superintendent, I know, share with you more. And I also agree, no retaliation against any of our students who retaliate on this very important topic. This is not the time for us to stand behind, these rules that talk about student attendance. If our parents and those students believe that protecting themselves and their fellow students to that right to basic public education, I stand behind you that there should not be retaliation for that. Thank you for the beginning of your social justice movement and activities. There will be many challenges as you go on through the rest of high school, college, graduate school, law school. Hopefully, as I'm always promoting law school, as my colleagues know. But that spirit is important, that corazón, the caring for others, the caring for what our community looks like. So felicidades to you, and thank you to Claudia and to Zed for bringing the students. Thank you for allowing them to share with us what their experiences and experiences have been. I want to transition to my official board report, which is what I'm supposed to talk about what I've been doing. It's been a very hard time for me work-wise. It's been a very busy time, so I don't have as many activities, I think, as some of my colleagues. But I want to share about a few that I did attend. I attended Assemblywoman Pacheco's open house this past Saturday. It was really a lot of fun, very interesting. They had tons of Portos, baked goods, by the way, so that I probably put on a pound just by myself there. It was an open house for city and board members, so City of La Habra, Norwalk, Downey, La Mirada. Norwalk La Mirada School District was there, Downey School District was there, and there was many people I had not met before. That was a ton of fun. Looking forward to going again. They were all bragging about all the movies in their cities, and then luckily, thank God, Dr. Oviedo said to me, of course, we have Back to the Future, so luckily we were able to throw our movie in there, but we'll have more next time. I did attend the Seroptimus International Whittier fundraising event. Seroptimus is a great organization. Their mission is to improve the lives of girls and women in our community. So they were raising monies for scholarships for women, and that was a phenomenal, fun event. The Whittier Union High School District Foundation had a meeting a couple weeks ago. We had approved the monies for the students to go to the robotics conference in San Francisco, so you all know. And the foundation is important. We're going to do a few more fundraisers. I don't recall the day. We're going to have one at the stand for a fundraiser again. But the foundation's focus is to provide support to students in their current high school curricular or extracurricular activities. So it's not for scholarships for college. It is if there's activities that students want to participate to enhance their extracurricular, those are what the monies are there for. We're trying to raise a lot more money for that. My husband and I hosted the UCLA Latino Alumni Association, the first UCLA Latino alumni event, I think actually the first UCLA alumni event ever in the city of Whittier. So we had about 60 people there, raised I believe about $15,000 for their scholarships, so that was great. We will do it again next year, so if anybody who's a UCLA alum, let me know and we'll get you an invite. But it will require a donation, just FYI. And then I was able to attend the Whole Child facility, the opening of their Santa Fe Springs facility, which is really a pathway from homelessness to home ownership. That was an incredible facility, got to tour that. And they're also a partner of Whittier Union High School District, providing services to our students. So eventually that's going to be another facility available to the community, not just in Santa Fe Springs, but obviously Whittier as well. And I do want to send my regrets. I think I saw Santa Fe High. I'm not going to be able to make the top 100, unfortunately. I wish I could. Those are my favorite events. At year-end is celebrating our students' academic achievements and all of their achievements. I unfortunately won't be able to do that. But I will be attending the City of La Mirada State of the City address, because there is a very large portion of the City of La Mirada residents who attend our school districts. So I will be attending that. And last but not least, of course, thanking to our labor partners and their comments, to Mr. Francev, who is incredibly inspirational every single time. I've got to say, I'm ready to get into good trouble. I'm there. And obviously to Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Lacey, thank you for your comments. Very much appreciate the spirit of collaboration and respect, and you know, looking forward to getting an agreement with CSEA and the WSEA. And with that, that will conclude my comments. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rodriguez. Colleagues, thank you for giving your reports. I'm so grateful that you all spoke first, so I had some time to formulate what I wanted to say to the students. And students, I hope you're still there. And thank you for staying if you are. I'd like to join my colleagues and speak to you first. I know you've been waiting to hear from each of us after coming to speak tonight. And first of all, I just want to agree with my colleagues that I'm just so moved that you're here tonight. You sacrificed. You prepared comments, you delivered them tonight, and as one of my colleagues said, you're starting a movement. And when you look at history, when you look at all the rights that we have, the rights we have are because people started movements and took sacrifices, sometimes very grave sacrifices. John Lewis shed blood on a bridge in order to fight for the Voting Rights Act, and there are many people in Washington, D.C. right now protesting in a variety of ways, some politically in the system and some outside the system in the streets. But you see it here. I'm in Washington, D.C. right now, and talk about that prayer, may you serve at interesting times. We're serving in interesting times, and I want to be able to go back to something the student says. I listen to you carefully, students. There are a lot of things you brought up, some of which I know our superintendent has been trying to include in our communications to each of the school sites in the monthly update and in the updates the principals have been sending to you. You're top of mind for us. But there are a few things that were mentioned tonight that I think might be able to be mentioned in future communications, and we get it. It's really important for us to communicate in as many different media as possible to make sure that the message is out there that, we have your back. And I'm willing to get arrested too if that's what it takes. I'm trying to figure out if I can still make a phone call with handcuffs around my wrists if I'm ever in that situation. I don't know. But it may come to that.
I'll be right
and,
next to you. You need me. That's it. I'm a lawyer.
There you go. You'll be the lawyer that'll text if that happens to me. But students, I did hear you ask for amnesty for the student protest that you courageously have been a part of. That's a big ask, and I thank you for making that ask. We as board members want to make sure that you're safe. We want to make sure you're attending school. We want to make sure that we are always supporting your growth and development as members of our democracy and as informed citizens in our system. But we have to balance that with making sure you're learning and making sure you're growing. And so, maybe there's some middle ground there. I think if we have to be smart and mindful with what we do as a district and as a board. And I'm not going to opine on that right now, but I think that's a discussion maybe that we need to have down the road. I'm all for forming after-school clubs, human rights clubs, and then I'm actually really interested in seeing what Know Your Rights trainings and workshops look like, and they can be informative. We can go over FERPA. We can go over what it means to be in a sanctuary area. I know there are a couple of institutions near us that are sanctuary institutions, but also we need to inform ourselves on the risks. And we heard from Trustee Canchola about the risks of having Know Your Rights trainings and being targeted, or the risks of being a sanctuary and being targeted. So I think there's a balancing act there. We have to be very smart with how we proceed. That starts with getting informed, and students, by being here tonight, you're making your voice heard, we're listening to you, and you're getting informed, and we're all getting informed, and inspired, hopefully, by each other. Going back to other things that you've said, students, I know that you've already heard from my colleagues, they're supportive of your rights, and we do believe that we can do more as a district to get the word out there about how to protect you and also how to keep you informed. So thank you for that. Let me get back to my other comments tonight. I'll try to keep this brief because I know we have some other agenda items to get to. In terms of the federal funding, so-called freeze, so-called pause, thank God that got rescinded. I know the district does receive federal funding. And I'm grateful for the lower courts who have stood up to the tyranny and the fascism that we've seen at the top level of our government. And I'm going to say that point blank. That's how I call it. That's how I see it. That's my personal opinion. And we're starting to see the checks and balances come to life in some respects. They're not coming to life in the House, but they are coming to life on the judicial front. And I will say this too. Having been in a couple of, at least one Republican office today, there is a way of finding common ground in terms of talking about our students, talking about education, talking about what's important to us. And there are Republicans willing to listen and that are asking for information about how Department of Education funding makes a difference in our students' lives. And that's really an important message to get out. So I do think there's room and space for us to send letters, but I think they have to be carefully crafted. And I will say this, Linda Sanchez, our area congresswoman, is having a town hall at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Students, she wants to hear from you. She wants to hear from the community about how federal funding impacts them, how proposed changes to immigration affect them. She's very anxious as well and wants to do the best she can for all of us, and she's fighting for us. So I just wanted to communicate that, given that we were in her office today. I also wanted to talk a little about upcoming events, if I may, and I'll wrap up my comments. Colleagues, I know we have our board self-evaluation coming up on March 1st. And Dr. Oviedo, I know you probably have an update after connecting with Dr. Yao, so we're happy to receive that update either in a board weekly update or verbally tonight. I know we have a couple of WASC visits tonight, so we're looking forward to getting reminded about that. And Colleagues, I serve on the board of the Interfaith Food Center, and this is good for the community to know too. The Interfaith Food Center has been in existence for about 41 years, and it's a food pantry that provides drive-through food distribution to the entire Whittier, Los Vientos, South Whittier, Santa Fe Springs, La Mirada communities. And I know that Whittier Union has been a friend of IFC and vice versa. A friend of my church is the CEO over at Interfaith Food Center. Well, the annual fundraiser is coming up on Saturday, April 12th. It'll be held at WAC, the Whittier Area Community Church over on Morgan Apartment, Colima. And so I have information, I'll be happy to share that with you. So thank you for in advance for your support of IFC. And one last thing, I did get approached by a member of the community about the changing of the mascot over at Santa Fe High School. And so I was given some really good advice and guidance on making sure that we're explicit about our reason for making this change, and that we are also clear about why, and that we talk about what's due to legal compliance, and that we talk about the law. And there are some people in the community that apparently, allegedly, that think we're doing it because we want to, and that's really not the case. So just want to make sure we're working with our BMA partner and working with city leaders in Santa Fe Springs, and of course with Santa Fe High School community. I think we can have a really good collaborative process in order to get as many ideas and be as open as possible to hearing and listen to community concerns, and make sure that process is well vetted like we have in the past with other big issues that we've had face our community, face our district. And so I'm going to stop for now. I think that Lunty and I really thank you for your leadership, and colleagues, I join you in all your comments about support for our district and protecting our students. So that finishes my report and board reports in general, and now I will pivot over to Dr. Oviedo for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, and I do want to share that the students are still here, and I thank you for hanging in there for all that. I think it was important for all of you to hear that. To share with the board, over the past week, we have had students from 3 of our schools participate in demonstrations related to the federal government, President Trump's anti-immigration policies. We deeply respect and support our students and their constitutional right to assemble. I was a social studies teacher myself. My husband is a social studies teacher. My son is a social studies teacher, so this is something that is very personal for us. So really appreciate you demonstrating your constitutional right to assemble and make your voices heard. Your engagement in civic discourse demonstrates critical thinking and community involvement, both of which are school-wide learning results for most, I believe, all of our schools. We're also very grateful for the way that you deported yourself very peacefully, demonstrating both courage and convictions and commitment to nonviolence, which also exemplifies the highest ideals that we have. I do want to let the board and all of our students and families know that we have been pushing out a significant amount of resources, both by myself and our principals. And if you go to any of our district, the main page for both the district and every school, the very first link is all of those resources in English and Spanish. I've heard references to your Know Your Rights, the red cards. Those are there in English and Spanish. We also have, I heard about a family reunification plan. If there was to be, God forbid, a family member taken, there is a plan in English and Spanish that is very easy to understand for families to work together to complete, so that if a parent were to be taken, we have a very comprehensive list of emergency contacts as well in that particular situation. We have trained every one of our site administrators, our principals specifically, on what to do if there was someone from immigration enforcement to come to our school. We already have very robust visitor policies, 1 point of entry, everybody must sign in with an ID. We have reviewed warrants and other documents to make sure that all of our principals understand what a legitimate warrant would look like, that we would have to immediately respond to. And even then, we wouldn't immediately respond. We have Mr. Gallagher, our legal counsel, on on standby, that if that were to happen, the first call that a principal makes is to me. I would go to the school, I would then immediately engage our legal counsel, and if it was a legitimate warrant signed by the appropriate type of judge, only then would we have to comply. In all other circumstances, we would not comply. In addition to that, we are bound by FERPA, that's federal guidelines regarding privacy. We do not share any information. First of all, we don't even collect information regarding immigration status. That is nowhere collected on any of our information systems. But if there was a request for any information, it must be approved by the parents before any information would be given to anyone. Those are some of the big things that we've been sharing. I will work with Mrs. Bozigian and her team, our Director of Categorical Programs. We're going to some training next week with all 80 superintendents from Los Angeles County. That is on Thursday. And then we will work with our legal counsel and other resources on training. We have been advised by LACO to consider online training as opposed to in-person training to ensure that families feel safe. And to ensure that we wouldn't inadvertently out any families and their immigration status. So that's what I want to share with you right now, other than regarding the question of retaliation. So a couple of years ago, SB 955 was passed that does allow students to have 1 day for protest. It excuses their absence and so that they can make up any work. And so we've shared that information with the principals. I think I saw some communication from some of the principals saying, parents, if you need to call us to clear an absence, that's what it's in reference to. So we will work through that process. So I think those are the comments I want to make at this point, and I'm looking forward to that training with regard to immigration. And then I'm going to shift to my other comments. Just to share that, yes, I did have a conversation on the phone with Dr. Yao from CSBA regarding your board self-evaluation. And so I'll be working with President Castaneda Calleros on next steps. I definitely anticipate, please do save the allotted time, 8 to 12, for that one item. We're not going to try to put any other items on that agenda, but I'm talking to Dr. Yao. She needs to review the results, and then she'll be able to give me a better timeline if it's going to take an hour or 4 hours.
When would you?
Yes, so March 1st was the date that we asked you to say 2 dates, but March 1st is the date for the board self-evaluation, 8 a.m. to 12.
Superintendent, I thought you had been in communications with Whittier PD.
Yes, I did.
Because obviously they cover Santa Fe High School.
Yes, thank you so much.
Whittier High School and Lucerna.
Yes, and I did actually ask the Chief Barr again this evening about that, and here's what he stated to me. We follow state law. We do not inquire regarding anyone's legal status. If an arrestee for a criminal offense has a formal detainer in a federal warranty system for a qualifying serious offense, they would notify federal authorities, but they do not enforce or cooperate with ICE. So that's for our 3 schools that operate with Whittier PD SMOs. Thank you for reminding me to share that. As far as WASC accreditations, we do have 2 upcoming. We have on February 23rd, Pioneer High School, that's at 1:15. And on Lucerna High School will be on March 2nd, and that is at 2 p.m. And as it relates to the process for the mascot change, that is not our intention. I mean, it is the state law that's requiring us to change. I actually have a brother-in-law who's given me quite an earful as an alum of Santa Fe High School, and so I keep reminding him, this is not us, this is the law. But Mr. Campbell will be working with Andrea, our representative from VMA, to establish a process for community input from a variety of community stakeholders, community members, alumni, staff, students, as they work through that process for changing that mascot. And the change is not until July 1, 2026. So we have time for a substantive process with a lot of stakeholder input. And tomorrow we start training, the outward mindset training. A next group, I'm really excited, 50 classified staff members, certificated staff members, and some of our site leaders. This is our third training with Outward Mindset, and I really appreciate the opportunity to sit together and work on that training and building our relationships. A reminder that Monday is President's Day, so our schools will be closed. Next week, on Wednesday, February 19th, we are hosting the Whittier Chamber of Commerce's Wake Up Whittier at Cal High. If you're able to join us, it starts at 7:30, and it's a great opportunity for us to highlight all of our amazing programs, and particularly Cal's 5 partnership academies, as well as the partnership academies across Whittier, and how we're building a stronger workforce for our community. Also want to share, I've shared previously that I participate on the California High School Coalition. I've joined that group. It's comprised of more than 80 high school district superintendents, and it's really about advocacy for high school and the unique issues that high schools face. I appreciate that they have only 2 meetings a year, one in Northern California, one in Southern California, and it's a very compact schedule. So at the end of this month, I will fly up in the morning, meet all day, fly back the next day, midday, so not too much time away from the district. In your packet is a Williams quarterly report. No complaints were filed, and this does conclude my report.
Thank you, Dr. Oviedo, and especially thank you for giving such a thorough and detailed response related to a lot of the immigration policy concerns that have come up tonight. And I'm really glad our students had a chance to hear all the latest information and updates that have been going out, and that way they can act as ambassadors and share this information with other students too. So thank you. Our next item, board, is our consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent calendar?
So moved. And with one vote, please.
Mr. Lopez has moved it. Thank you. Is there a second?
Ms. Rodriguez Mosa here, I'll second.
Thank you very much. Any discussion on tonight's consent calendar?
I believe Mr. Lopez wants to pull one item.
Just one item.
Okay, Mr.
Just
Lopez,
one
which item
single
would you like to
item
pull?
on 1303, consider approval agreements for contracted services. Just one item. I'm okay with the others. Just do have a question on Strumwasser, and if you can please, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Strumwasser and Wutcher?
And Wutcher, yes.
Yes. Can I speak on that now?
No, you would have to pull it for discussion.
Okay.
And
We did have a motion to pull. So,
Pull it, and then we can do that.
Yes.
Which number is it, 1303?
1303, the contracts table.
okay, so we're looking at 13.03, the contracts table, and Strumwasser and Buscher would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8th item down, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
The contracts list.
That is accurate.
So, okay, so how about, we entertain a motion to approve, the consent calendar minus the, list of contracted agreements, is that okay?
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, very good. It's been moved and seconded. So, any other discussion on the consent calendar except for the contracts?
No discussion on consent.
Seeing none? No discussion, okay. Seeing none, call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, seeing none, the consent calendar, except the contracts table, passes. So now let's go back to 13.03, and let's have a discussion on Strumwasser and Wutcher.
So I'd like to move and divide the question to, it would be the motion to pass everything else.
Second.
So the motion's been made by Mr. Mendez to approve all the other contracts in 13.03 except Strumwasser and Wutcher, and Mr. Lopez has seconded the motion. Seeing no discussion, call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Okay. Any no's or abstentions? I don't think so. I think it passed. Very good. So the entire contracts table except for Strom, Master, and Butcher has now been passed. So now we are ready to have a discussion just on the Strom, Master, and Butcher contract. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Would need to be moved for discussion.
I'll move approval.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved to have discussion for Strom, Master, and Butcher. And has it been seconded?
Second.
It's been seconded, okay. It's been moved and seconded, so now we can have discussion.
Mr. Chair, I did pull this item, so I just wanted to get a brief report on this. And I'm very particular in knowing just how much it's going to cost the district with this contract. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, so the question, thank you, Mr. Lopez. The question on the table that you're posing is how much would our contract for Strom, Master, and Butcher cost the district?
So we don't know. In the contracts amendment, it shows you their hourly rates. If you recollect that this and I'm going to look to Mr. Gallagher, did they give you an estimated number of hours that they anticipated that that project was going to take?
No.
No. So remember, this is specifically for them to, Mr. Mendez and Ms. Rodriguez Moises selected them to address the issue of incompatibility.
What's the rate, going rate for this
So
law firm?
the rates are on the contracted table.
Do you know?
I didn't open my computer. Mr. Jamero, can you tell me the rates on the contract? It's on the amendment.
Yes, thank you.
They are pricey.
Senior partner rate is $795. The senior counsel, $795. Junior partner, $695, and associates at $445. Those are hourly rates.
And do we have the hourly rate for a paralegal?
Not included.
I believe that the two folks that they have identified are both attorneys. They haven't identified any paralegals that were going to work on this case.
Okay, thank you.
Did you want any feedback as to how Mr. Mendez and I came to agreement on this firm?
I'm open to hear a little bit more.
Sure, Mr. Mendez and I had a conversation as the authority delegated by the board to review 3 different law firms to provide the district an opinion regarding the incompatibility of office issue. When we looked at the 3 law firms, this law firm was the only one who actually specified the specific experience in that area. The other firms had water district experience, but did not actually specify that they had looked at those issues before, had ever filed any sort of those legal actions. So we absolutely recognize that those hourly rates are very high, but we felt that given the qualifications of the firm and that we want to make sure the opinion is something that we are very comfortable with and above reproach, that this is what the firm that Mr. Mendez and I jointly agreed to. I see that the table says not to exceed $10,000. I am confident it will exceed $10,000. I don't know if that table's correct or not, but it does say that.
We had typically we put a cap on it, and so we did not anticipate how many hours it was going to take.
Mr. Chair, I do have a question on that.
Mr. Lopez,
Yeah,
proceed with your question.
Okay, so there is a cap of $10,000. Let's say they come in with exceeding that cap. Does it have to come back to the board?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Let me ask another question.
I didn't hear the, excuse me, before we move any further, because of, I guess, the audio issues, I didn't hear the answer to Mr. Lopez's question.
Yes, it would have to come back to the board for ratification unless the board makes an amendment to adjust the not to exceed to a higher amount. Or we just remove it and just say to be determined.
Got it, thank you. And then, Ms. Rodriguez-Moises, did you have your hand up?
I did, because based on the hourly rates and the complexity of the issue, I think that 10,000, we're just going to be right back here anyway. I'd rather have us do a not to exceed 35,000 and see if that will get it done by then. I would make that motion.
Is there a second to the amendment to change the not to exceed amount to 35,000?
A second.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Oh, so that's just a friendly amendment to your own motion?
I suppose so, because it's, I did move to approve it.
No, you no need to be too formal.
Okay, then a friendly amendment to my own motion, which has already been seconded, which is to approve the law firm's contract, but to change the not to exceed amount to 35,000.
So you've made an amendment to your motion. Thank you for the clarification. It's been seconded. Any other discussion on
Mr. Chair, I think,
this adjustment?
I think the one that seconded it has to be okay with that friendly amendment.
You're saying the author of the motion
No,
has to
I'm
be
talking
okay
about
with?
the one that seconded the motion, and that will be trustee Conchola.
Right.
She's okay with that.
I am
That's
up to, with the cap of 35,000.
Okay, thank you. She just answered. Thank you, I appreciate it.
So I believe this now requires a vote. Is that correct?
I would recommend roll call on that.
Well, I think we're under
Roll
discussion,
call's
right,
been
Mr. Chair?
recognized. Mr. Lopez, were you speaking? I'm sorry.
Yes, are we on, under discussion at this moment?
Yes, I thought the discussion was over, but if you would like to have further discussion, please proceed, Mr. Lopez.
Yeah, thank you. Well, obviously, the firm gave us a number, and we were okay, the district was okay with $10,000. I'm not okay with 35,000. Why? Because someone came up with that number already, and if it exceeds that 10,000, let's bring it back. So I'm not okay with the 35,000 figure, because they gave us already the $10,000 figure, so that's all.
So I would just say that the Stonewasser did not give us a number. That was an arbitrary number selected by myself without knowledge of how many hours it was going to take.
I do have a question. Did the firm actually see the report?
We wouldn't give them a copy of this report, but as typical, but it's an available document.
I trust your judgment at $10,000. I'll stick with the 10,000.
Thank you, and I just wanted to, in a very respectful way, caution the board that the questions about this issue need to refrain from anything that was discussed in closed session. I'll just say it that way. Have all questions about this item been answered?
Call for the question. Call for the vote.
Okay. Call for the question. And just to remind the board, we are voting on the motion to adjust the not to exceed amount from 10,000 to 35,000. So I think there was a request made for a roll call vote. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's
okay.
correct.
Dr. Oviedo, if you could begin the roll call vote.
Trustee Mendez?
No.
Trustee Lopez?
No.
Trustee Canchola?
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez Moisa?
Yes.
Trustee Castaneda Calleros?
Aye. The motion passes 3-2. Thank you very much. And so now, do we need to have a motion to approve the? No, we don't need any further motion to approve the contract because
Yeah, we're all
we
done with
just
consent. All done with consent.
we're done with consent calendar. Thank you for the clarification. All right, that brings us to items 14. And I turn my page on the agenda here. 14.01, Local Control and Accountability Plan, midterm report for the 24-25 year. Dr. Oviedo.
Yes, and to share with you about the LCAP midterm report, which doesn't need board approval, just we need to inform you, is Mr. Liggett, our Director of Assessment and Accountability.
Very good. Good evening, Mr. Liggett.
Good evening. Just setting up the technology here. Trying to make sure we don't take you off the screen, Dr. Castaneda Calleros.
If you do, it's no problem at all. minimize me.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, good evening. Thank you again for having me here today. This is your mid-year update on the Local Control and Accountability Plan. And just to kind of take you a little bit through the process of the LCAP, as we call it, there's sort of an annual cycle. And actually, it's almost 3 annual cycles. So back in January of 24, this board adopted a new 3-year LCAP plan to take us through the next 3 years. So state law now requires us to provide a mid-year update. So over this 3-year cycle, you're going to get a total of 6 updates on the process of progress on the LCAP. And the mid-year report, in a lot of school districts, it's sort of an opportunity to reflect back on some end-of-year data from the last school year that wasn't available at the time of the LCAP adoption. Dr. Oviedo, however, covered all of that data very thoroughly in an October study session. And so when we get to the data slides a little bit later tonight, we have the opportunity to see some new data that we haven't talked about formally as a group yet, because it's going to reflect student performance during the first semester of this school year. And then when we get to June of this school year, we're going to come back again to present a further update on the progress of the plan, as well as some potential revisions moving forward, and we do that over a series of 2 board meetings. So a little bit of a reminder about our district LCAP process. We collect stakeholder input at 3 times during the year. We do it in October, we do it in January, and we do it in April. That being said, that doesn't mean the work on the LCAP starts in October. This all starts over the summer. Once the LCAP is adopted by the board, it's something that goes into the work that the principals do on their sites with their leadership retreats, and as they craft their annual reports for the year, to go ahead and put together their site plans on how they want to address our LCAP goals. We have 2 basic types of stakeholder input. We have our LCAP task force, which is staff, where staff members from the sites come together to brainstorm and think big and try to put together plans to impact our students. We also then host LCAP advisory meetings. That's done locally at each of the sites so that they can get input from parents and students and the community. So we've basically about half our way through this. All the October task force and advisory meetings are done. We've held the January task force meetings. Some of the sites are still doing their LCAP advisory meetings, so about halfway through that. And then we have another round coming up a little later this spring. Mr. Mendez.
So on your advisory committee, do you recruit? Do you train? How does that work?
Sure, and it varies a little bit by site. It's open to anyone. Anyone is welcome to come. In fact, I know during my last couple of years at Whittier High School, I tended to market more as coffee with the principal than an LCAP advisory meeting, because I felt the former sounded a little bit more attractive and interesting. But often you know as a site administrator who your parents are, your go-to parents who are going to come in and give you support. So often, sometimes there'll be some additional phone calls that go out. You know the students that are typically willing to provide really solid input. So I would say it's a bit of a mix. It's a mix of some invitations, but it's always announced so that anybody who wants to attend can come.
So FYI, when I visited student governments, Pioneer expressed interest, the students, ASB, on getting kind of like an overview and an invitation to attend.
Oh, great. Outstanding.
So someone would follow through with that.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
I got too. I did share on my visits to the ASBs as well. I did provide them with the dates and location for the advisory committee.
Thank you.
So when we kind of zoom in on our LCAP plan, the very clear focus that we received as a district from our board, from our superintendent, and our cabinet, is to really try to shine a spotlight on our English learner students as well as our male students. And so when we look at kind of the process of the year, in October, each site put together a plan to try to positively impact those students. A point of reference though, when we talk about these site plans, the LCAP itself is a district-wide document. There are no individual site LCAPs. So these site plans, these are internal documents for planning purposes of the sites. But it really is a lot of the direction that they wanted to go in ways to meet the needs of their students. And in October, we were again mostly using student data from 23-24 to inform that work. In January, we had a chance to bring our site teams back in. They got to assess progress on their plans, as it typically is when you brainstorm lots of really good ideas. Some are kind of easy to get off the ground really quickly, some take a little bit more time, and so they had the opportunity as site teams to really look at where they are and what work still needs to be done in the spring. And then, as I'm going to share with you in a few minutes, they had some semester 1 data to look at to get a sense of how things have been going so far this year. And then when we get in the spring, into April, they'll have a chance to look back, see how things work this year, and then turn that focus to next year, especially as they get into their summer planning to continue to move us forward. This focus on English learners and males, this is not a short-term focus for us. This is something that we're going to continue to look at year after year as we continue to work to positively impact these students. So I just wanted to share here some highlights from some of the site plans. And I want to emphasize these are just highlights because I picked one thing from each site to try to give us kind of a cross-section of what the district is working on. All of our sites are working on multiple things. It's not just one thing. Also, a lot of these ideas that you might see at one site are also happening at other sites. They have access to each other's plans, and so they have the ability to look and borrow each other's good ideas. So just as some examples of some things that are going on throughout the district. Cal High, for example, working on SBAC math preparation specifically for English learners. Something we see in our data is that English learners sometimes actually struggle more with math than they do in other subjects. And so they wanted to do this during lunch, and smartly, attracting students with food is always a winner. And so that's something that Cal High has been working on. Lucerna also has been focusing on EL students, looking at LPAC test preparation. The LPAC is the English proficiency exam that the state does each year. It is the one mandated legal requirement that we have to have students do well on in order to reclassify them as English proficient. And so Lucerna is actually taking an old system that worked really, really well back when we had the high school exit exam, of pulling out students in small groups to work with them on test preparation. And they're using a new platform which was piloted in the district last year called Summit K-12, which gives the students an opportunity in an online environment to do practice questions and other learning activities to help prepare them for the exam.
Excuse me for not answering or asking this question, I don't know.
No, it's okay, Mr. Mendes.
Are the EL students, are they prepared in Spanish today?
Well, the exam is administered in English. So ultimately, they need to be prepared to answer questions, and the LPAC is comprehensive. They have to read, they have to listen, they have to speak, and they have to write, and it's all in English. So ultimately, that preparation.
So they're working on their English proficiency and the subject area. Is that the approach we take?
Well, in this case, the LPAC exam is only English proficiency. It's not a content area exam like an English exam or a math exam or anything like that. So it's designed to test English language proficiency specifically for English learners. Of course. Pioneer High School has taken off an idea to start a male mentor program where they have paired up male staff members to build relationships with one or two, so small numbers of off-target male students. Try to build relationships, get those students more connected to school, help them look towards the future, think about college and career goals. So that's something that's going on at Pioneer High School.
Can you explain off-target?
Off-target, sure. So off-target is something that we had a chance to get into a little bit back in the fall. Off-target is based on credits. So these are students that, based on their grade level, have not achieved enough credits where we can say they're on track to graduate in 4 years. And that number differs based on the grade level. Moving on to some of our other sites, Santa Fe High School, wanting to reinforce that the importance of our English learners doing well in all of their classes, because that's another core component of redesignation. They're doing quarterly celebrations for English learners who have C's or better in all of their classes. They're also, and I really like this, they're reserving, because they do a Student of the Month activity at Santa Fe, as they do it at other campuses as well. And they're making sure that they always have a couple of slots specifically for English learners who are doing well as part of their Student of the Month festivities at Santa Fe High School. USAC, our alternative campuses, have created intervention classes that they're building into student schedules, specifically for off-target students, again, students who are behind on credits, to support the completion of work and the recovery of credits. Sometimes with students, it's just a matter of giving them a space to get work done with the support of a teacher who can help them. And sometimes it does just take that adult to kind of stand over them and say, okay, you need to get your work done, because that does make a big difference.
Is scheduling a concern?
They have been able to work it into their schedule so far and make it work, and they seem pretty happy with the results so far. And then last, Whittier High School, looking again at male students, there's this Choices Youth Conference, which will be held at Rio Hondo College in April. And they're identifying male students to attend this conference because this conference is designed specifically to empower men of color, young men of color, through a social justice lens, to try to give those students that experience and that deep sense of connection to who they are, to their identity, as they move forward into this world past high school. So I have a chance to now share some data with you. This is kind of hot off the presses. This is based on how our students did in the first semester of this academic year. One comment I will make about this data as we try to contextualize it, when we talk about student grades, that's all internal data. School districts don't publicly share student grade distributions. It's not something the state collects. And so when we look at student grades, we're often sort of forced just to compare it against ourselves. And so I wanted to share that as we move forward. So what I did, just for some context, is I took a look at where we were 1 year ago and where we are now after the first semester of this year. So for example, this first data metric is what we call the student success rate. This is the percentage of all grades given, all roughly 60,000 grades given in the district that are at least a C- or higher. District-wide, a year ago we were 89%. This year that did tick up by 1 percentage point to 90% of those grades being C- or higher. For male students, we saw a slightly larger jump, going from 87% last year at this time to 89% this year in terms of success rate. For English learners, we were flat there, so we have a little bit more work to do there. But, and I'm going to say, sometimes you have to zoom in a little bit more. The sort of opposite of the success rate would be a DNF rate. So for English learners with an 80% success rate, we're talking about a 20% DNF rate. The one thing I can tell you is even though the total percentage of 20 is the same last year, this year, the percentage of Fs that makes up that 20% did go down a little bit. So we did see a shifting in grades from English learners from Fs to Ds, but ultimately not enough to impact the overall success rate. On target for graduation. So this is something we talked about just a few moments ago. This is again comparing to where we were this time last year after one semester. So district-wide, based on the number of credits the students have accumulated, last year at this time, 88% of our students were on track for graduation in 4 years. This year, it's ticked up a little bit, 2 percentage points, up to 90% of our students on track to graduate as of right now, moving into semester 2. We saw a similar uptick amongst our male students from 87% a year ago to 89% this year. And then in English learners, we actually did see an uptick here, which I think supports the idea that we saw a few fewer Fs in that English learner population, because Fs are ultimately what ends up causing students to miss out on earning credits and potentially fall off target. So English learners moving from 75% last year at this time to 77% this year.
So out of that 10% that are Ds and Fs, what percentage actually will go on to graduation?
Well, and obviously there's work to be done, but if you think about last year when we were at 88% at this time, we ended up with a 93% graduation rate as a district. So we do see an opportunity for upward growth during that second semester.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back to the last slide if we can. Thank you.
Sure.
I just want to take a moment to recognize the 2% increase across the board in all three of these categories, right? District-wide, and of course the two categories of focus. And if we drill down to school site, would we find that there are some school sites that might be maybe experiencing like a larger than the average 2% bump? and taking a look at maybe what they're doing that is making such a big difference?
That's a fantastic question. So because the LCAP is a district-wide document in the LCAP reports, we typically don't disaggregate out by school site. What I can tell you though is that the outcomes among the school sites are actually extraordinarily similar when it comes to student grades and on-target rates. Is there a little bit of difference? Yes, but not much. And I think that speaks a lot to, even though all of our school sites are different, have their own cultures, there's so much collaboration that goes on between the school sites, between teachers and counselors working together, that you end up with very similar outcomes.
And as a result, the differences might be so minute that probably not statistically significant, right?
Yeah, I don't know that I want to quite declare a level of statistical significancy, but they are small differences.
Okay, thank you. I'll let you go on.
May I ask a question? So I'm.
Yes, please do.
Thank you. I'm interested also in that 10% in terms of looking at other factors that might be impacting the outcomes. So I'm interested in finding out things like absenteeism with that group of students. I want to know what else is going on. And I mean, if we went up, that 2% and we continue in that trajectory, we could do a lot of really good work. I just wanted to be able to support that 10% of students, because it takes effort for a student to fail, right? And so I want to know what else is happening.
Absolutely, and all of our sites receive data from the district every 5 weeks. I'm sure for the idea of the kitchen sink report, so-called, because there's everything in there, including attendance, and including whether or not students are on target for graduation. So all those on target figures were adjusted at the end of semester 1 since they now have a new status. So when we look at that 10%, our school sites know who those students are, and they work really diligently to try to understand their stories and their needs and what needs to be done in order to get them back on track.